Ladies and gentlemen, our last speaker today, Major Nawan Karunarathna. He will deliver his speech on effective employment of civil security department personnel in Sri Lanka. Let me introduce Major Nawan Karunarathna, who joined the Sri Lankan Army in November 2004 through the KDU. He was conferred with the Bachelor of Science, Defense Studies in Management and Technical Science stream degree. Graduated from Defense Services Command and Staff College, Sri Lanka in year 2014. His research interest includes geopolitics, national security, disaster management, and strategic studies. Please continue your presentation.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Honorable Chair, the Vice Chancellor, and distinguished audience, good evening to you. Next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to talk about effective employment of Civil Security Department personnel in Sri Lanka. The sequence of my presentation is as shown on the screen. Sri Lankan Armed Forces successfully eradicated the decades-lasting conflict between government forces and Liberation Tamil Tigers of Elam on May of 2009. The role played by the Civil Security Department, commonly known as CSD, was immense and one of the major factors for the success of armed forces. Since then, CSD personnel are deployed in various parts of the country and are performing their duties in terms of providing security for government installations and also as a workforce for numerous projects carried out under the supervision of Ministry of Defense. Let me now go into a little history of forming these paramilitary force. National Home Guard Service was established as a voluntary service in the mid-1980s to protect the border-threatened villages. Initially, no allowances were paid, but some rations were issued through cooperative outlets. Subsequently, they were paid a daily allowance and placed under the police department. In year 2006, the organization was restructured, the whole Home Guard Service, and established the Civil Security Department. During the conflict era, they provided security to threatened villages and they further provided security to VIPs and economic targets along with police and security forces. Let us see their present role and functions. Presently, they are engaged with agricultural projects, manufacturing of bricks, engaged with poultry farms, assisting the Department of Archaeology in restoring archaeological sites, development of roads and towns, conducting of primary schools, preschools, providing security to government institutions, functioning of garment factories and the blacksmith workshops, training of private security personnel, special tasks given by the Ministry of Defense. As a developing nation, we should always exploit the opportunities to economically develop our country and uplift its citizens' living standards. Employing of armed forces for develop a country and improve infrastructure could be seen all over the world. Even after World War II, we have seen that even in our own experience, we saw our own armed forces were dealt with nation building efforts, and basically the urban development efforts, and they were constructing roads, they were putting up houses for those who don't have houses, and etc., etc. Therefore, this study is generally to examine how best the CSD can be employed in infrastructure development in the country through inculcating professionalism. My objectives: to identify evolving roles and tasks, to identify what are the development projects carried out by civil security department personnel, to obtain feedback and inputs from CSD personnel, and finally to identify what are the available schemes to the development of national economy. Let us now see how our neighbors are maintaining their paramilitary forces. India too maintains paramilitary forces, and those are government organizations that help military forces, help in disaster management and control civil agitations. Paramilitary forces of India employed under various ministries to perform numerous tasks. Some of them are central industry security, provide border guard, and provide railway security. If we move on to Pakistan, Pakistan too has established a paramilitary force to provide security for country. But unlike India, Pakistan has totally concerned or totally employed their paramilitary forces on security matters. Their primary role is to safeguard the country from any external or internal threat. The current strength of Pakistan paramilitary force is more than 430,000 personnel. Let us now see how Bangladesh are maintaining their paramilitary forces. Bangladesh also maintaining paramilitary forces to meet the various emergencies in the country. They also have forces like border guards, village defense party, and Ansar force. I heard during the introduction of our Honorable Chair, he also had commanded Ansar force, a fraction of paramilitary force of Bangladesh. The main tasks of those forces are reinforcement to the police, provide security for installations, conduct of national duties, basically engage in disaster management agencies, and support civil and military agencies on natural and man-made disasters. To collect my data, I have used mixed method, that is quantitative and qualitative approach. And I gathered primary and secondary data through a survey, and secondary data through journals, books, internet, and websites. My sample is about 50 members who chosen from civil security department personnel who are engaged with various development projects at Eastern Province. The present employment pattern of civil security department personnel is as shown on the screen. As you can see, most of them are engaged with agricultural projects. It is more than 55%. These are the projects carried out by civil security department personnel in Eastern Province in year 2014. You can see most of them are engaged in agricultural projects, then the other farming projects, fishing projects, the bricks manufacturing projects, and other projects like blacksmith, clothing, etc. During the survey, once I conducting the survey, I came to know that job satisfaction of this civil security department personnel is quite impressive, and most of them are strongly satisfied with what they do. I mean, they are basically engaged with various development projects, and most of them are quite satisfied with their employment. And most of them have recognized that they are kind of a development task force which immensely contribute to the development of our nation. That is quite impressive. That is a quite impressive thought, that if that they already know that what kind of a force that they are. What sort of a change they need? Basically, the most of them were thinking that they need a capacity building, they need some skill development, and few thought that they need a structural change. So, inculcating the professionalism, most of them thought that through the inculcating of professionalism, they could produce more results. In my recommendations, having undergone all these data presented, I have proposed a model which is shown on the screen. How to effectively employ these civil security department personnel. There are two ways. We should first, a fraction we should train them, the other fraction, once recruiting, we have to recruit the professionals, and the trained personnel will get skill developed, and the professionals who are recruited, definitely we have to send them through a task orientating phase. After that, both these fractions could be employed in development projects, and what are the indicators of the area is being developed can be seen, can be identified, like benefit and skills that are acquired by civil security department personnel, benefits to the people in the area, and tasks and performances while CSD personnel are serving, and through their job satisfaction. These are some food to thought. The core values also should be enhanced of this massive task force. We should identify their personal relationships, clarify them who they are, guide processes of particular task and outcome. There are various levels of civil security department who guide at various projects, act as guides and act as supervisors.
Time, please.
And finally, we should underpin the whole organization. How we underpin the whole organization is basically through inculcating professionalism, through training, and through developing their skills. In concluding, even though the CSD is paramilitary force, it is engaged mostly carrying out development tasks assigned by Ministry of Defence, and however still the considerable amount of troops are engaged with security matters, In order to utilize this massive task force effectively, government have assigned them various development projects covering the entire country. So, Civil Security Department, or rather CSD, can no more be treated as an auxiliary force who totally engage with security matters. We can treat them as a massive task force, workforce, which can be turned to development task force and later to use to develop our nation, to engage them with our nation building effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Major Jawan Karunarathna. Major expressed that the role played by the Civil Security Department was immense and one of the major factors for the success of the armed forces during conflict. He also highlighted that Civil Security Department personnel are deployed in various parts of the country and are performing their duties in terms of providing security. The speaker also mentioned that Civil Security Department personnel are engaged with many projects that can give profit to the nation in order to contribute to the national economy. I'd like to thank you for your deliberation.